Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Ryan, aka Alethal Llama. Today, I want to talk to you about player choice in video games, and when it works and doesn't work. Specifically, I want to talk to you about Telltale Games, as they currently have most of the popular choice games out right now. My discussion will feature spoilers from The Walking Dead 1 and 2, The Wolf Among Us, Tales from the Borderlands, and Minecraft Story Mode. Now let's get to it. Having meaningful player choice in games is difficult to achieve, but when done properly, can create some unforgettable gameplay experiences. Having some sort of agency in what your character says or does, as well as what kinds of twists the plot takes, is a lot of fun, and makes it easier to relate to your in-game characters. It definitely creates a sense of immersion too, as you can shape your character to be the kind of person you want them to be, within limitations of course. Telltale, for the most part, has done an amazing job, giving you meaningful choices in oftentimes funny and emotional games. Before we analyze how Telltale handles choice in their games, let's first look at what kinds of choices their games have. They all feature roughly the same two kinds of choices: dialogue choices and action choices. For dialogue, you're typically given three unique things to say, in addition to the option of saying nothing at all. They usually range from your typical nice guy answer, mean guy answer, or neutral answer.
I've heard enough of your excuses, Toad.
For action choices, you're given two or more different ways to handle a given situation. From both of these categories, not every choice you make will have an impact. Some dialogue choices are there simply to push a conversation forward, while giving you the feeling of control and the freedom to experiment with different options. Some action choices have an effect on what happens later in the game, but only for the fun of it. For example, in Telltale's Minecraft Story Mode, you can decide which structure you and your friends build for a competition.
Alright, let's build the creeper.
Your team builds whatever you decide, which is a joy to see, but it has no meaningful effect on the story. And then there are the choices that do matter. The ones that affect who lives and who dies, which characters hate you, and which ones stand by your side. These choices are always accompanied by a statement in the top corner of your screen. So-and-so will remember that, you chose to do blank, etc. Each time I saw one of these appear, I either breathed a sigh of relief or cursed under my breath, depending on whether or not these things went the way I'd hoped.
It's completely irresponsible, Toad.
Bigby, please. That's a low blow, mate.
And that's a great accomplishment for Telltale. I'm so invested in the characters that if I accidentally insult someone, or if I have to make a tough decision where, no matter what, someone has to lose, I always feel bad.
Olivia, you and I are going to Eligard.
Awesome.
Axel, you stay here with Lucas and get the place ready for when Petra shows up.
And what really nails this home is the fact that virtually every decision you make is timed. You have a finite time to answer someone's question,
What is happening right now?
to decide whether or not to risk your life to save a friend.
Go back for him. You're light. You
Stop
can do
telling her that! Cliff, look at me. Pull out your gun and shoot those damn walkers, okay?
This means that you can't sit back, relax, and think through all the possibilities and the consequences of each option. That's not real life at all. Rather, you have mere seconds to toil over your options, as much as the person would have in that situation. This method of choice shows you, the player, who you really are, and what kinds of decisions you make in the character's shoes. I can't tell you how many times I let the timer go down to the last possible moment, frantically going back and forth between choices. And when you make your choice and see the events unfold, you have to live with the consequences, whether they be good or bad. These consequences may be immediate, or they may rear their head hours down the line. Some of Telltale's most memorable moments come from their signature end-of-chapter big decisions. Each of their games is split up into 5 chapters, and each one of those chapters usually ends with you making a huge decision, one that will clearly and undeniably affect the rest of the game. Many of these can be seen coming a few seconds in advance, which gives you the feeling of, oh man, I'm gonna have to choose, as the action unfolds. I mean, just look at some of these.
August.
Even with no context, you can feel the urgency and intensity. What I've said up until now has been all the things Telltale excels in regards to choice. Now let's talk about where they may stumble. With no actual evidence of this, I assume that most gamers, like myself, play choice games as if they were the ones in the game. They make decisions that they believe they would do, had they been in the same situation. And that makes complete sense. The want for immersion can be easily accomplished in this way. But the problem with this is that it makes a lot of choices in the game not really choices at all. Like I said before, a lot of the dialogue options have some sort of nice guy answer, mean guy answer, or neutral answer. Because most people play like themselves, and because most people are decent human beings, a majority of players are going to pick the nice guy answers.
We might need your help out there. You should come with us.
This is reflected in the end of chapter statistics. After every chapter you play, you're able to see all of that chapter's big choices, and what you decided alongside other players. In a perfectly crafted game, all of these would show around 50% of players choosing one answer, while the other half chose the other, if there were two options. That would imply a truly thought-provoking choice, one with no clear right answer. In reality though, far too many statistics showed a 70-30 sway or worse. When you're part of a majority that big, you don't feel like your choices were important or unique, which is essential in a game that's supposed to mold itself to the choices you make. On the contrary, I find myself happier when I'm in the minority. That means that I'm getting to see a scene play out that most others haven't. But I get most excited when I see that 50-50 split I mentioned earlier. To pull a specific example, I saw a nearly even split in the most recent chapter of The Wolf Among Us I played. What surprised me is that the decision was whether or not you decided to kill another character. I decided not to kill the character. And when I made that choice, it seemed like the obvious one to me. Yes, he had tried to kill me many times in the past, and yes, I was a wolfman with a bone to pick, but I decided long ago that my character wasn't the killing type. And so when I saw those stats, it kind of shocked me. It told me that half of the players, if they were in that situation, would have killed that man, and that stuck with me. In this case, Telltale achieved choice perfection, having half of their player base experience reality different from the other. So I think that the best change that Telltale Games could use in their games is making more morally ambiguous decisions, at least for the bigger ones. Not every choice can be a mental dilemma to get through, that would be exhausting, but I'd love to see a more even ratio in the end of game roundup. And some of my favorite choices in the game didn't even have a clear good or bad answer. Some even had nothing to do with morals. It was simply pick whatever you think is right and hope for the best. By giving players agency in their characters' actions and choices, Telltale has woven some incredible tales in a multitude of universes. By giving us choices in dialogue and in actions, we have the rare chance to shape who our character is and what kind of person, or block person, they are. Short of some missteps and a lack of morally ambiguous decisions, Telltale is the go-to company for games with choices that matter. And that was it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, my name is Ryan, aka Alethal Llama, and I'll see you next time.